Hello everyone, I'm Jane. This is my crazy life of a high school student. And as they say, Dear Diary, the morning was good, the sun was shining, what could go wrong? Well, except for math lesson. But I could deal with this one. Who knew it wasn't the math I should be afraid of? Well, math was the last lesson of our schedule. Everyone was already at home in their minds, so we somehow missed the teacher's insidious smile. No one was really interested in math. Someone was asleep, someone was chatting, and someone, like me, was scrolling on their Instagram feed. And it wasn't my fault, honestly. It's just Billie Eilish posted new photos and I urgently needed to leave a couple of super important comments with other Billie fans. And then I heard a strange thing. In any case, you need practice, so here you are, kids. Take these doll babies and take care of them as if they were alive. Well, kind of that. While we were silent digesting the news, the teacher divided us into pairs and gave us a creepy plastic baby doll. I got paired with Matthew. Our classmates started throwing glances at us, but suddenly they yelled at the whole class. It turned out the teacher did not warn us that they were not just dolls, but the dolls looked and acted very much like babies. All I knew about babies was that they were constantly screaming, pissing, and begging for food. I still remember how my mom once forgot to put a diaper on Susie. And she, did her thing on my favorite coloring book of princesses. And it didn't matter, I myself was only 3 at the time. If you have small brothers and sisters, you've gotta understand me. I've remembered this episode for the rest of my life. The screaming doll justified all my memories. My face turned pale. Anyway, our task was to take care of the doll for 2 days and write down everything in a diary. Like what I did and how you deal with the stress of sudden motherhood. But the most important thing was that I was totally forbidden to ask our parents for advice. We had to do everything by ourselves. And then I got offended. Other parents had already started taking care of their babies. For example, Mia, who's always been hating kids, rocked her baby in her arms with a sweet smile. Ethan wrote down how many times he should feed the kid and how to properly swaddle him. Rachel and her partner agreed on who would be the first to bear the burden of motherhood. Yeah, all the rest dealt with it too. Only Matthew and me stood over the screaming doll with one desire: run away from the classroom and never come back. How would you react to such a setup from a teacher? Text in the comments below. Well, anyway, I pulled myself together and said to myself, I could do it. At least I would be a single mom if Matthew really ran away. But Matthew decided to hold on. He even somehow managed to feed a rubber kid that was making terrible sounds under teacher supervision. By the way, the kid received some strange liquid from the pack and fell silent. Then we decided fresh air would be good for kids, and a curry festival was taking place in the city park. A week ago, we planned to go there with large company, but somehow it didn't work out. Now, there was a real reason for it, but others refused to go with us. But we were okay to go there, just the 2 of us, me and Matthew. Oh yeah. Now the 3 of us. I forgot the kid. I should say, walking with a small kid is not easy and as pleasant as it may seem. He kept pulling our hands down, he dragged all of our attention to himself, and no one gave us strollers or baby bags or any other equipment at school, but me and Matthew still had fun. We tried all kinds of curries. We danced a little at the singing fountain, took rides on the roller coaster. We went home tired and happy. I even forgot about the baby project for a while. And we were about to say goodbye. Me and Matthew realized we had literally forgotten about the task. To be exact, about our terrible doll. Oh my god. I think we left it on the bench when we went to ride a roller coaster. That's a whole story, how I flew to the park, not watching my way and the passersby. I guess they would agree with me. Losing a kid, even a rubber one, during the first hours of your motherhood is not a good thing to do. Matthew followed me, screaming loud. We are incredibly lucky no one picked up our kid. He was lying on the park bench, screaming, scaring away the local cats. Anyway, we got lucky, but the doll was screaming. I was panicking, and Matthew was trying to catch his breath. The passersby were gazing at us strange. I even thought some of them were ready to call the police. At home, I tried to feed the doll with the strange liquid from the bottle that the teacher gave to us. But it didn't help. The liquid flowed into the mouth and immediately flowed back out. The doll continued to scream. Matthew ran around and scratched his head. In the evening, my parents came and got a little surprised. The doll was screaming. No, not like that. She screamed. Like the loudest and nastiest siren in the world. Me and Matthew took turns rocking it, trying to feed it, but once we were so angry, we even yelled back. Oddly enough, my parents' parenting tips didn't even help either. Apparently, it's easier to deal with real kids than rubber monsters. But we are saved from going crazy. And from The Killing Doll by Susie. She came back from her friend's house. She immediately said that we were all idiots who didn't read the instructions. Then she professionally changed the diaper on the doll, just in 2 movements. And then there was a long-awaited silence. You know, at that moment, I really respected my sister. Well, seriously, who would guess from the scream intonation what the baby needs? Honestly, we didn't. But even Susie's miraculous rescue did not deliver us from evil in the face of the doll, because it pissed every couple of hours. It asked to eat even more often, and the remaining time, it screamed. And every time it was a mystery. What was wrong with it? Me and Matthew shared our duties and took turn running to Toots. While one of us was trying to do the school homework, the second one was rocking a doll and dealing with the endless eat, pee, sleep business. At night, we made a very important decision. Matthew went to his house, and I put a rubber baby to sleep in a tree house. From there, it could yell as much as it wanted. No one would hear the scream in the house. However, my mom glared at me because of this idea. I was even ashamed. She didn't bring Susie to the treehouse to spend the night peacefully. I would have remembered this thing. At night, it started raining. Our treehouse was slightly flooded, along with the unfortunate screaming baby. It got silent. When I found it in the morning, it was lying all wet, dirty, and silent. For some reason, for the first time, we were all given this stupid science assignment. I felt ashamed. Right after the thought, the teacher would kill Matthew and me for the damaged doll, and my parents would have to pay a fine. I went with the broken doll to my dad. To my joy, it's actually quite easy to fix the baby. My dad cleaned something in the insides, and it started screaming again. You won't believe it. I was happy about it. I started jumping. And then my day as a young mom started. I had to go to school with a carrier for kids and a backpack full of all sorts of necessary things. Diapers and mixtures, baby screams were annoying, and my shame got stronger. Well, you know that feeling when you leave your dog in a booth on the street during the rain? Everyone seems to be okay, but it's a shame that you're in a warm place and the animal may shiver in the cold. So I decided to be a good mom no matter what. And I forced Matthew to get involved too. Every hour we took turns feeding our baby, changing its diapers, rocking it as it was written in the instructions. Yeah, we finally read the instructions. At some point, I caught myself thinking I was singing a lullaby to a baby. By the way, the baby no longer screamed like a steamship siren. It looked quite peaceful. It ate when I was feeding, it slept well, and it pleased his mom, I mean me. I was happy, and I did not notice how I was getting attached to him. When the teacher announced to us the doll should be returned, I was upset? I don't know how to call this feeling, but I definitely did not want to give the plastic kid away. I've already got used to it. I've fallen in love with him. I even made a schedule for his needs. When the teacher tried to take the doll in my hands, I clung to it and started crying. I just had something in my head. I imagined how the baby would gather dust in a box. It would be lonely, forgotten until the next parenthood lesson. And some idiots would take it. They'd forget in a park and leave it in the treehouse. It would cry and starve without its cyber baby's food, and Matthew was crying right next to me. Still, they took the doll away from us. I think the teacher even twirled a finger to its temple. For the rest of the lesson, me and Matthew roared in an embrace. We even managed to make plans how to steal our baby out of the school closet. Then we came home and announced to our parents we wanted a real kid. This is when my mom was speechless for the first time in her life. My dad dropped his jaw. They started dissuading us, explaining a real kid is not a toy doll. In the end, they offered us an alternative, like a common dog or a cat or a turtle, anything. Fortunately, the impulse quickly passed. As soon as we discovered we could peacefully sleep until the alarm clock rang, study, and go wherever we wanted without thinking soon our plastic baby would want to eat. Anyway, this experiment turned out to be quite interesting. I even got an A+ for my diary, and do you know what I realized? Of course, being parents is cool, but definitely not at our age. Sleeping, walking with friends, and having fun is much more interesting than diapers. Maybe later, in the future, but not soon.